In 2019, a case began unfolding that would shock millions across the world. At the center of it all was a woman named 𝐒𝐈𝐄𝐒, a mother once described as loving, cheerful, and deeply religious. But behind the smiles was a mystery darker than anyone could have imagined. Lori had 2 children, 16-year-old Tylee Ryan and 7-year-old Joshua JJ Vallow. Suddenly, both children vanished. Friends and family grew suspicious when Lori refused to answer simple questions about where they were. Instead of searching for her missing kids, Lori seemed strangely calm. Around the same time, Lori became obsessed with extreme religious beliefs after meeting author Chad Daybell, a man who claimed he could predict the future and spoke about dark spirits, the apocalypse, and people becoming zombies. Lori reportedly began believing certain people around her were possessed. Then, tragedy struck again. Lori's 4th husband, Charles Vallow, was shot and killed by Lori's brother, who claimed self-defense. Soon after, Chad Daybell's wife, Tammy Daybell, mysteriously died in her sleep. Just weeks later, Lori and Chad got married in Hawaii, while Lori's children were still missing. As police closed in, the world watched in horror. In June 2020, investigators made a devastating discovery on Chad Daybell's property in Idaho. The remains of JJ and Tylee were found buried there. The case became one of the most disturbing true crime stories in recent history. Prosecutors argued Lori believed her children stood in the way of the life she wanted with Chad and their extreme beliefs. In 2023, Lori Vallow was found guilty of murdering her children and conspiring in the death of Tammy Daybell. The smiling mother who once appeared ordinary had become known worldwide as the Doomsday Mom. One haunting question still lingers for many people. How did a mother's love turn into something so unimaginable? In the early hours of November 13, 2022, tragedy struck a quiet college town in Idaho. 4 university students, Ethan Chapin, Zana Kernodle, Madison Mogen, and Kaylee Goncalves, were found brutally stabbed to death inside an off-campus home near the University of Idaho. The crime shocked the nation and left people asking one terrifying question: who could have done something so horrific? For weeks, investigators worked around the clock, but the case seemed to go cold. Fear spread across the community as rumors exploded online. Then, in late December, police made a stunning arrest. The suspect was Brian Koberger, a criminology PhD student studying criminal justice at Washington State University, just miles away from where the murders happened. The irony immediately captured attention. A man studying crime accused of committing one of the most disturbing crimes in recent memory. According to investigators, a key piece of evidence linked Koberger to the scene: DNA found on a knife sheath left near one of the victims. Police also traced cell phone data and surveillance footage, including a white Hyundai Elantra allegedly seen near the home around the time of the killings. As details emerged, the mystery only deepened. Reports suggested Koberger had allegedly studied criminal behavior and may have been fascinated by how crimes are investigated. But one chilling question remained unanswered: why? Authorities never publicly confirmed a motive, leaving many people confused and disturbed. Some wondered whether the victims had been targeted, while others questioned if it was a random act of violence. The case quickly became one of the most followed true crime stories in the country, with endless theories spreading online. But beyond the headlines, 4 young lives were lost in a tragedy that devastated families, friends, and an entire community. And even now, people continue asking, what was Brian Koberger really thinking on that night? For years, Alex Murdaugh seemed untouchable. A powerful lawyer from a wealthy and respected family in South Carolina, he came from a legal dynasty that had influence stretching back generations. But behind the image of success was a story that would shock the nation. On the night of June 7, 2021, Alex Murdaugh called 911 in panic. His wife, Maggie Murdaugh, and youngest son, Paul Murdaugh, had been found shot to death near the family's hunting property known as Moselle. Alex sounded devastated, claiming he had just discovered their bodies. At first, sympathy poured in, But investigators quickly began noticing strange details. Alex's timeline didn't quite add up. Then came a major breakthrough. Cell phone footage recorded by Paul just minutes before the murders placed Alex at the crime scene, despite him repeatedly denying he had been there. As police dug deeper, an even darker picture emerged. Alex wasn't just dealing with tragedy. He was drowning in financial problems. Prosecutors argued he had stolen millions of dollars from clients, law partners, and even vulnerable victims who trusted him. They believed the murders were a desperate attempt to distract attention from his crumbling life and gain sympathy. The trial became one of the most watched true crime cases in America. Prosecutors painted Alex as a manipulative man willing to do the unimaginable to protect himself. His defense insisted there was no direct evidence linking him to the killings. But in March 2023, after weeks of dramatic testimony, a jury found Alex Murdaugh guilty of murdering his wife and son. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. To this day, people still debate one haunting question. What really pushed a powerful family man to destroy everything around him? Was Alex Murdaugh a grieving father, or a master manipulator hiding in plain sight? In 1994, a quiet town in South Carolina was shaken by a story so heartbreaking that the entire country stopped to watch. A young mother named Susan Smith appeared on television in tears, begging for help to find her two missing sons. Susan told police that a black man had carjacked her vehicle with her children still inside. The boys, 3-year-old Michael and 14-month-old Alex, were gone, and the nation rallied around the grieving mother. Search teams worked around the clock. News stations covered every update. People prayed for the safe return of the children. But as days passed, investigators began to notice cracks in Susan's story. Her timeline didn't add up. Details kept changing. Something felt wrong. Then, after 9 days of searching, Susan finally confessed to a truth more horrifying than anyone expected. She admitted that there had been no carjacking. Instead, in the middle of the night, Susan had strapped her 2 young sons into their car seats, rolled her car into a lake, and watched as it disappeared beneath the water. The discovery devastated the nation. Many struggled to understand how a mother could do something so tragic to her own children. During the trial, prosecutors argued that Susan wanted freedom from motherhood and believed her children stood in the way of a relationship with a man she cared about. Her defense team claimed she was struggling with severe mental health issues and emotional trauma. In 1995, Susan Smith was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison. Even decades later, the case remains one of America's most shocking true crime stories, not just because of the crime itself, but because of the heartbreaking betrayal behind the public plea for help. One question still lingers for many. How well do we really know the people behind the tears?
Our lives have been torn apart by this tragic event.